Welcome back to a new video for the networking series. Last video, we went over configuring and maintaining DNS servers. In this video, we're going to go over DHCP server install and configuration. It's going to be so much fun. Now, for this one, it's going to be pretty straightforward like the last one. We're going to install and configure a DHCP server. So nothing, super crazy. Just go ahead and install it, configure it, and verify the allocation of the dynamically allocated IP address. So definitely getting ready to have some fun here. So just well, for a quick breakdown while we're waiting here, the dynamic host control protocol, which is DHCP, is used on an internal network to dynamically distribute IP addresses to hosts on the network. Now, by dynamically assigning these IP addresses to reduce the admin effort for medium and large networks, right? So we're going to get a few things done here once everything loads that we need. All right. Now, first, let's get to installing. I didn't mean to go to Win10, but to DMO1. Now, the DHCP server that I mentioned is used to automatically assign IP addresses to hosts on the network to reduce admin effort, right? So just going to add some roles and features, right, by way of our server manager once it's done doing its inventory data. All right, perfect. So let's click here. That's fine. And last time, remember, we did a different feature, right? We did some web server, not last time, but we did some web server before in the prior video, and we also did another one, the DNS in the last video. I had to remember the last video was about, but nonetheless, now we're doing the dynamic host control protocol, right? So we're just adding the DHCP server and just clicking through here at this point. Everything looks pretty good, so let's go ahead and install. Right, so the install succeeded, so I can go ahead and close this out. So now we can move forward with configuring a DHCP server. So now that it's installed, I need to configure it to dynamically allocate IP addresses to hosts on the network. Now, before we do this, I do want to note that our server Win10, the Ethernet 2 for that is assigned an AP IPA address. All right, so we're just going to take the DHCP server to be configured to automatically allocate to host on the network. So we're going to stay on DML1, right? And I'm just going to complete this here, the configuration, right? To load for us. Okay, next. Then I'm going to commit to it here. All right, that's fine, whatever. Then we can close on our summary page. So let's go to our services here. All right, so we're looking for a DHCP server. It shouldn't be too hard to find. Actually, just click here. Restart it. Now it needs to be restarted to ensure that the configured credentials are successfully applied. So I can actually exit out of here, go back here, and then take a look at our dynamic host. Right. Well, okay, there we go. So let's expand this and version 4. Let's expand that. Actually, make it a bit better. You can see that. So perfect. So let's take a look at IPv4. Let's do a new scope. All right. So we're going to do next. Now we're going to do practice lab users. Description is going to be IP addresses for practice lab users. Right. We're going to do next again. Okay, now start going to be, there it is. Then we're going to end it at here. All right. Fine. Whatever. Now, exclusions, back on this one actually before I continue. Now, exclusions can be added to the new scope to exclude specific IP addresses assigned to dynamically configure hosts. And this can be used if a specific IP address has been statically assigned to a host. But I just wanted to just point that out. And I'll leave the least duration, which is the number of days that an IP address will be assigned to a dynamically configured host, depending on the network. This can be set to a specific time period, like if you got somebody that's on a contract or something like that. All right, so for this one, let's do, no, it's not that. There we go. Add it, and next. Right. Next here, there's nothing to see here. Now additional, before I continue again, additional DNS servers can be added here if an alternative DNS server is available. As we looked at in our last video, as can be seen, the primary DNS server for the domain is added by default. Right, so I'll just hit next here. Default. I can do finish. All right, so I finally completed the the creation of the new DHCP scope with hitting finish there. Let's see. Scope options. Not going to go down that road, but now it can actually verify the allocation of the dynamically allocated IP addresses. So now a scope has been configured for DHCP. It must be verified that the scope has been successfully applied. So an IP helper or UDP forwarder can be configured to a DHCP server if different network segments exist on a network. Now, if a client device requests an IP address from a different network segment, then the IP helper will forward this request to the DHCP server to ensure the client receives the correct address. So let's actually swivel over to Win10. Take a look at our network settings. Okay. All right, so we have the open network and internet settings. So let's actually change the adapter options here. And we're going to take a look at our Ethernet 2 properties, naturally, right? And then let's take a look at our IP version 4 protocol. Let's take a look at those properties. That's what I had. It looks okay. Looks pretty good. Now the additional network adapter has been configured only. That's pretty good to dynamically rather receive an IP address from a DHCP server. So just going to cancel out the close out of there. So let's actually take a look here at our details instead. Now, you can see all of these here. And pretty much with everything I configured. Now in the network now this in these details, right, it can be seen that the Ethernet 2 network adapter has been dynamically allocated with an IP address from the previously configured DHCP server. So if an IP address is not automatically allocated to the network adapter, then the adapter needs to be disabled and enabled by right-clicking on the adapter by selecting disable and enable, which I've done in a previous video before. And this brings us to the end of this video, where we took a look at DHCP server install and configuration, very surface level, but we did it nonetheless. We installed a DHCP server, we configured that server, and we verified the allocation the dynamically allocated IP address here. So this was fun. Definitely going to be more fun in the next video where we go for remote access and management. Can't wait to see you there. Stay curious, stay secure.